Hey everyone, just wanted to give a quick demo playthrough of my work in progress, still in development, reality TV production simulator called Confessional. So I thought a fun way to do that would be to simulate an entire season of Survivor, and we're going to do season 50, which is currently airing. So let me go ahead and load some pre-generated characters. So there is a way to create contestants in this. This game does not have real Survivor contestants, so I don't want to get sued by CBS. So I went ahead and made them custom, but like it just showed, there is a way to share, import, and export casts, and they'll be on the Steam Workshop too. So I want to give you a quick look at how the attributes of these characters are set up, and this is a kind of some extreme examples, right? So I'll look at a legend of the game, right? Suri feels. So I separated the attributes into two categories: challenge attributes and game attributes. So obviously we know Suri is not much of a challenge beast, as it were, right? So her physical stats, right, like raw athleticism, like speed, strength, swimming, quite low, a 6 out of 20. So some of you who've played Football Manager might recognize that scale of 1 to 20 is, I just think, a good way of being able to have some kind of balanced numbers on either side of the median. So Suri, obviously, not a super physical competitor, not an endurance threat by any stretch of the imagination, and okay at puzzles, but not a puzzle beast. But where she is a beast, right, is these game attributes. So social skill, strategic awareness, game sense. She's a very composed contestant, right, and all this feeds into the kind of macro game simulation, which is separate than the challenge calculations. Camera presence, again, something that goes into the simulation of the production side of things, like how good TV they make, how aware they are that they're being filmed, right? And all these stats can improve. Like these are custom contestants that I've loaded, right? In the main game, when you go through casting, the casting portion of the game where you're finding talent, a lot of these attributes will be lower and will be masked, and they'll actually improve through games, right? So you might see someone start with 5 strategy skill, but then after a couple of tribal councils, they're up at 7 or 8, right? Excuse me, and they come back for another season. You can improve upon that again, right? Or even kind of pick up some tips along the way, right? And these playstyle stats, these are out of 10, right? So that's more like how they approach the game, right? Like, so obviously Suri is a fairly aggressive player, fairly loyal, very adaptable, and fairly risky, and not someone who's really motivated to hold grudges or seek long-term vengeance. Then the perception stats are how likely is she to be able to determine when someone else is deceiving her, or someone else's strategy is to target her, right? That's so read accuracy. And then social cloak, like how well she's able to hide that for herself, right? Let's look at basically the opposite end of that spectrum. Ozzy, right? An absolute insane challenge beast, physical endurance, not very good at puzzles. But then where he lacks, right, is those metagame attributes, right? Social skills. He's not a good strategist. He's fairly loyal, but like not an aggressive game player by any stretch of the imagination, and not adaptable, right? And then again, low read accuracy and social cloak. So kind of two wild opposite sides of the spectrum. You see Ozzy's challenge rating is 5, right? So Ree's not that bad. She's not. She can do something in puzzles. She's not a hopeless challenge competitor, right? So I have the tribes separated out. I could move these if I wanted to, but they're locked in right now. Okay, so there's coach. I did try and generate these guys based on the abilities or the ages and attributes of them playing their first season of the game, but then for some reason I gave Coach gray hair like he has now as a 50-year-old man, not a 37-year-old soccer coach in token jeans. So let's start it off. Okay, cast size 24, 3 tries. Gotta bring this down to 26 days, which I know I hate and everybody hates. We will have a tribe swap. And we will turn off, or we'll leave turned off, pre-existing reputation. So it doesn't make sense for these characters, but if you're playing the full game and you're building up contestants over multiple seasons, these are the stats I'm talking about. Fame and villainy, they'll increase with villainy will increase with blindsides and backstabbing allies, and fame will increase just your general like good idle plays, really intense challenge wins, that kind of thing. So I didn't generate that for these characters. So let's start filming. All right, so this is the home screen or the kind of command center view. What I'm looking to show here is kind of like a 1,000-foot view of the current day, right? This game will work when you progress through the days in kind of a turn-based fashion. You'll be able to interact with the simulation along the way. So this in this kind of email inbox here will give you updates on what's going on, right? Events, results of tribal councils, challenges, etc. Right? So on day one, it'll give you a kind of high-level overview of where the contestants are, like who are the ones. So, for example, here, right, it's these 3, the best TV presences, right? Q, unpredictable temper, magnetic personality, right? Risk taker. Rick Devens, and comedian, doesn't hold back. Again, another unpredictable risk taker. Angelina, natural kind of charisma, born for TV character. Again, someone with like really high camera presence. I didn't do her any favors with that mouth in the generated image. And then early threats to win it all, right? Aubrey, strategic legend of the game, right? Genevieve, very dangerous, right? Camilla, like a puzzle expert and like a real strategist who we just saw play. And then some of these early relationships, right? Like off the boat relationships. So in this case, Jenna and Savannah, they're both loyal players with disarming charm, right? Jonathan and Charlie, an interesting combination. Suri and Emily, another fun combination, right? And you'll see these relationships form, right? Emily considers Suri a close ally and will protect them, right? So just good first impression, +2 disarming charm, right? Suri is disarming. They're both kindred strategists. They both have they appreciate each other's strategic chops, right? These are the individual tribes. We'll advance a couple of days, and we'll look at the snapshot of how the game's going. So we'll proceed to day 2, right? So immediately we get an event, right? And so someone at the Sela tribe, it's going to drive me nuts. That's lowercase, but I don't know how that happened, but we'll figure that out. I might have fat fingered that. Suri was caught red-handed sabotaging the tribe supplies, right? So you'll already see this shelter percentage has gone down, right? It's going to affect camp quality. It's going to affect morale. It's going to affect each player's individual fatigue stats, right? So generally a bad thing to do. I'll come back and show that tribe screen in a second here. So looking at the calendar, right, we got a reward challenge, a reward and immunity challenge coming up. So it wants me to choose a reward for the upcoming reward, right? Each of those we'll do chickens, right? Give you +7 just base morale and 30% hunger drain. So I think the Sela tribe could use that, right? And then we have the opportunity to, interview Suri. We'll skip that for now. Okay. Okay. You see here some camp events, right? Camilla and Dee kind of forming a bond. Dee and Coach forming a bond. And then just another, this is the general field report of the day. So lists again that major event that happened, right? Suri was caught red-handed. So each tribe has their own kind of page like this, where you get a snapshot or like a closer look at how the tribes are broken down, right? So this is kind of the alliance map. So if you look here, right, we got this like this alliance of Aubrey, Angelina, and Genevieve, which would be pretty fun. And then the other side, this kind of like old school, strength alliance of Colby, Kyle, and Stephanie, which I think actually, funnily enough, in real life, they really bonded together in the first episode. So maybe my simulation has proven pretty good. And then on the outs, Rizzo and Q. So, there's room, right? So when it says on the outs here, that just means they're not an alliance. If we look at this kind of, I call this the pecking order panel. You kind of see who's the most well insulated, right? So you can kind of see here, like, if it's ranking these players, Aubrey is the most kind of safe or insulated on this tribe, and then Colby as the head of the other alliance, and then Angelina, Genevieve. Interestingly enough, Hugh obviously has enough relationships and social standings that he finds himself kind of in a better overall tribe position than Stephanie and Kyle, and then Riz is on the out. But these numbers are very close, right? Like, so the pecking order stat, right, is that kind of it's in this tooltip explained here, right? It shows kind of the power they have to influence the overall structure of the alliance, if that makes sense. Again, up here you see like their food, right? Everybody starts with rice. In my world, there's no deprivation or whatever they want to do in real life, but I may make that editable just to kind of see how it affects the overall quality of the experience, right? I have it calculated that they eat 0.5 pounds of rice a day. Might need a nutritionist to check me on that. So morale is quite high. So shelter we talked about, right? They've got a decent camp going. Nobody has decimated it. Morale is quite good. That's kind of that's an accumulation of all of their kind of moods and conditions. No tension really, like no one has any real beef with each other or rivalries, kind of like a kumbaya tribe. And then strength here, like how their average challenge rating, so it's quite a strong challenge tribe, right, with Colby and Stephanie and Q and and Kyle, right? Down here, yeah, some other stats about challenges, right? So we'll plug on to the next day. So we're gonna get through here, right? So Callow won immunity, and that was the tribe we were just looking at. So that means our low morale tribe are heading to tribal council. I really enjoyed making that little walk to tribal council animation here. So let's just watch it again. Led by Savannah, Joe, and Emily. So we have we're sitting here in tribal council. You can adjust the speed of this, or you can go through it manually. If anyone has an immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time. So Ozzy gets a vote. Suri, 5-1, that's enough. Yeah, so this would be a devastating scenario in real life, and it was also very close to happen in real life, right? Suri got unanimously voted out for some reason. I think like she destroyed the tribe supplies. Not necessarily sure that would be something Suri would do in real life, but there you go, right? 1 vote Ozzy, 7 votes Suri. So interestingly enough, I guess Suri voted for Ozzy, right? So just kind of considers that betrayals from the perspective of they all had good relationships with Suri, right? Positive affinity in this case. So yeah, 7 votes. You can see Ozzy, Christian, Rick, Jenna, Emily, Joe, and Savannah, and then Suri voted for Ozzy. So about day 2 or 3, we start to actually just have those I spoiled it by showing you the tribe screen before that, but have these alliances really kind of surface, right? And especially in a 3 tribe game, there can be some pretty interesting alliance dynamics here. And so a good way to see those dynamics across the whole tribes, and obviously more complicated with 3 tribes, is on the alliance map, right? So you can see that this kind of big, huge alliance of Jenna, Savannah, Rick, Christian, and Emily, right? So what tribe are those on? Sela, right? Has 5 members, one of the stronger alliances in the game. It's another one that's kind of weirdly, these guys really resonated with each other in real life. In the first episode, it's kind of validating again for me. The Jenna and Savannah being in the middle, maybe less realistic, but again, you can kind of see like the makeup of this tribe at a very like real, easy to digest factor, right? Like Savannah is super well insulated. For some reason, she's in both alliances. She's in the middle for both alliances. Same with Jenna. And then, as we go down, Ozzy, Joe, Christian are kind of in the middle, and Rick and Emily towards the bottom. But if there was a swap right now and these 5 got on the same tribe, right, that'd be super dangerous. So the alliance map kind of just shows that at a high level, right? Couple of free agents here, Coach Rizzo, Chrissy and Rizzo not in an alliance, and then these swing votes are people in multiple alliances, right? Q, Mike, Savannah. So yeah, like, this is kind of a 2-person alliance, but you can see here the cohesion between Dean and Camila is really high, right? They really unlikely to break, really unlikely to go against each other. So the field report shows the activities of the previous day, right? A new alliance was formed that will be surfaced here. That's the Rick, Savannah, Christian, and Emily alliance. You see, this alliance, the Enigma, formed between Rick, Savannah, Christian, and Emily with moderate cohesion, and then the diplomats formed and then fell apart somehow. And then a couple of camp events, right? Again, Christy and Jonathan scheming, Q and Rizzo building up some goodwill. Just again ticking over points in the relationships between those people, right? Up or down, depending on how the events played out. So let's move on to the next day where we have another tribal council. Okay, so again, just love that animation. Let's see who goes here. Right, nobody has individual immunity. No one has an idol. Remind me after this. How are you going to remind me? This is a pre-recorded video. I'll try and remember to plant some idols. Looks like it's gonna be another clean sweep. Bad times for Chrissy. Okay, Chrissy goes. So you can skip through those tribal councils and look at it right here. Chrissy was blindsided in a power move. She was well insulated on the tribe, and they took her out, right? Again, a lot of movement on the alliance spectrum. Savannah, super duper well insulated. I don't know why I said super duper. I don't talk like that normally. And then kind of interesting, poor Coach still on the outs here, but interesting dichotomy of relationships here, right? Like we have a 4-person alliance with Mike, Tiffany, Charlie, and Jonathan, and then within that a 3-person alliance of Jonathan, Charlie, and Tiffany, and then another alliance, but a really strong cohesion one, again like 10 between D and Camilla. So you can see also down here the rewards that they won, and you can also see the players that have been previously eliminated from that tribe, right? So Ceri's gone, Chrissy's gone, and Vatu is doing really well. Okay, so let's drop some idols in the mix, right? I'm gonna make them moderately hard to find, but with a like cast of kind of, I'd say there's a lot of like legends of this game with high strategy and high awareness. So I think those idols will be found pretty quickly, but we'll move on to the next date. Okay, Sela won immunity with a lowercase. We thought they'd never do it, and we're sending what's the name of this alliance? I should say the name of the alliance that's walking the tribal council, or the name of the alliance up here. That's a good note for future Mike to enhance. Nobody has found those immunity idols yet. Oh no. Oh, we're gonna lose Coach. Ooh, 2 for Jonathan, 3 for Jonathan, 1 for Coach, 4 for Jonathan, 5 for Jonathan. Okay, that was scary for a second there, though. I thought we were gonna lose Coach. All right, Jonathan goes 6-1. And we got a tribe swap. So there's a couple of ways to do this, right? We got 8, 7, 6. hope that divides equally by 3. Yeah, it does, right? We'll see. So we could auto balance the teams, like, so they try and put the right amount of or the same gender on each. And look at that, I can fix the name of this. Where they try and put the same, equal genders on each team, or we could do it by trying to keep the same overall challenge threat to keep it interesting, or we could do what they do in real life, which is just pure randomness. So let's do that. Let's do pure randomness. And okay, who we got? All right, who we got when we do this? Let's have a look. See. The Vatu is okay. Already we got some kind of alliances formed, and Coach has got his way in here already, right? So Vatu is going to be Tiffany and Mike in a good spot. Coach right in the middle, but well insulated, and Q, Rizzo, Jenna, and Christian. Poor Christian is really on the outs here. And then the Sela tribe: Rick, Emily, Savannah in the middle. She's in both alliances with Ozzy. Colby, Angelina, Camila. Colby and Camila on the bottom. You go straight from the bottom. We separated Camila and D, so that's not going to be good. And then Kahlo tribe: Charlie and Aubrey at the top. D, Genevieve, Stephanie, Kyle, and Joe kind of on the outs there. Joe with no power rankings in the pick and play. So did anyone find my idol? Yes, they did. Savannah's got one. So Savannah has a hidden immunity idol that she found on day 4. Again, we can look at the kind of snapshot here, right? The alliances, who's the best screen presence right now, who's power rankings in terms of like positioning, strategy, threat. And you look at these tribes, right? Batu has the lowest challenge power. Again, it will be your best let's say there was one person voted out of the tribes, now it would be like 6 on 6 on 6, so it would be your best 6 for challenge rating. So there is snowballing if you start losing, but it's not super unfair. So Sela won that immunity challenge yesterday. We looked at that, right? So you can see here Ozzy, Jonathan, and D led the way because it was a physical immunity challenge, right? It was a test of grit and endurance. So some of the challenges are weighted to be, where are we, right? So it was endurance. That was an endurance team immunity challenge. Some of them are mostly puzzles, some of them are physical, and some of them have a mix of both, right? Like a tribe relay race and then a puzzle at the end. So Ozzy, Jonathan, and D were the top performers, right, across D and Jonathan with the Kahlo tribe, and Ozzy on Sela. Sela won immunity, so we can just imagine that Ozzy kind of clutched that one out. And then we had Jonathan taken out as a big threat, right, in the pre-jury. I don't necessarily know why. Anyway, we do that, and then these are kind of the alliance moving and shaking. Then again, this is the alliance moving and shaking, and it lists here also Savannah found an immunity idol. So the tribes have shuffled. We went through it, right? 13 contestants switched tribes. Batu won. So I'm gonna skip through this nice and quick, right? Let's see. Oh, you see Joe had his immunity idol there, and I skipped through it, sorry. So yeah, Hugh found one and Joe found one. It was actually listed on his character. Aubrey has nowhere to hide, and there's a reward coming up, so let's give them fishing gear. Yep, Q and Joe found the immunity idols, and then a lot of movement in the alliances. Let's see where we're at. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna skip through these tribal councils. See, Q has the symbol, so he has an immunity idol. Will he play it? He does. He plays it for himself. Okay. Exciting times. Coach catches a vote. Christian catches a vote. Coach catches another one. Christian catches one. Christian catches another one. Oh no, 4-2, 5-2 to Christian. No, my favorite, my guy. Okay, so as a classic amateur recorder of videos guy that I am, I talked for 25 minutes with the microphone not on. I went through the entire rest of the season. So I've had to go back. There is no way right now to revert. So I just had to kind of take us back to where we were previously. Obviously, some things are a little different in this new fork in the universe, in this new chaos. What do they call it in community? The darkest timeline. And as I was going back to catch up, I accidentally skipped past a rock draw. So I didn't get a chance to show you that. But essentially, on the initial vote, Jenna, Joe, and Rizzo voted for Camilla, and Chrissy, Mike, and Camilla voted for Rizzo. And then we went to a revote. It was still 2-2, and to a rock draw. And our friend from season 1, Jenna, was eliminated in a rock draw. We got Sela going to Tribal Council. I did add this new alliance map, and of course there's no alliance to show, but maybe when we get to the next Tribal Council, we'll see that in action. So 4 votes for Stephanie, 2 for Christian, 1 for D. Stephanie goes home. Kyle and Coach buddying up. Let's see what we got alliance-wise. Okay, so we got on Sela, we got Q and Genevieve, and Jonathan and Charlie. Let's give them rice and beans is a little lame. Let's do a feast since we're kind of edging up on merge day, probably. Batu is going to Tribal Council. Again, I think there's no actual alliances here right now, and I really want to show off my new importing of the alliance map. So Kyle gets a vote. D, Christian. Oh, there goes my boy Christian. I've had to see him go out 2 times in the one YouTube video here, so sorry about that. Mr. Hubicki, Dr. Hubicki. Day 11. Okay, let's go. We got some more. All the alliances are on Sela. We got 3 pairs of 2, and then we got the Christy, Camilla, and Mike Dark Horse crew here with Joe and Rizzo on the outs. Both of them have 0 pecking order power, or what do I call it? Social influence power. And then on this tribe, like I said, we got that kind of really strong Charlie and Jonathan alliance, and then Q and Rick in the middle, Genevieve and Ozzy on the outs. But Ozzy does have that, relationship with Rick Devens, so could be some opportunity for them to work together. Let's drop a couple of idols into the mix, and let's actually take a look at a couple of things here. One, the game state. So this shows the 3 idols that are in play here. I just dropped them right in the beaches they're on. So 1 on Batu Beach, 1 on Sela Beach, 1 on Kalu Beach. When they're picked up by players, let's go to the next day and we'll see. I should call the name of the tribe here on my on this screen somewhere as well. So D's got an immunity idol. If anyone has an idol they want to play it, D keeps it in her pocket. 1 vote for Coach, 1 vote for Kyle, 1 vote for D, 2 votes for D. D goes home with an idol in her pocket. In the last simulation that I ran in the lost footage, she went all the way to the end. She negated 9 votes with an idol play. It's kind of crazy. So D goes home. 1 idol expired, right? D went home with it. The other 2 are hidden on the Sela Beach and the Kalo Beach. D found the hidden immunity idol. Let's go to the next. So Batu's going to Tribal Council. Angelina, Kyle, Coach. So no alliances here to speak of. Angelina gets 2 votes. Angelina gets 3 votes, and Angelina goes home. Rizzo found the immunity, one of the immunity idols. Let's give a feast as a reward, and we'll move on to the next day. So we're down to 3 on Vato. Tiffany, Coach, and Kyle. 2 votes for Coach, and he's gonna go out. Coach blindsided before he could. Coach was blindsided before they could run the game. Okay, and we made it to the merge. This will be really interesting from an alliance perspective. They're going to call the Suvu tribe. Let's make them pink. Let's take a look at, okay, really interesting stuff here with the alliances, right? We got 3 groups of 3: Jonathan, Tiffany, and Charlie. Another group, the Dark Horse crew, Chrissy, Camilla, and Mike. Ozzy, Rick, and Joe. And then a 4th alliance of 2, right? Q and Genevieve, with Kyle and Rizzo really on the outs here. So this should make an interesting next tribal council. We get Genevieve and Rizzo both have idols in play. So and of course Jonathan wins individual immunity. So let's see, this should be an interesting tribal council. We got, like I said, those idols on Genevieve and Rizzo here. Let's see who plays them. Genevieve plays an idol for Q. Interesting. So any votes for Q will not count, and Rizzo plays it for himself, which is probably a little bit smart. Oh, Genevieve gets a vote. Couple of votes for Genevieve. Couple of votes for Ozzy. Uh-oh, Genevieve, you might have wanted to play that for yourself, but she just survives that vote. Let's pick the next reward. Let's do a spa day as a reward. Those alliances are getting a little bit more complicated, right? Kyle managed to get an alliance with Tiffany, but she's in that bigger alliance with Jonathan, Charlie. So Tiffany very well insulated here at the top, right? Charlie too, and Jonathan in a very good spot. So when an idol is played, we drop another one, right? Let's drop one on the beach. Again, I'm looking for suggestions and ways that you guys think might be, good levers to be able to pull as a producer of the show, like where you can tip the scales and push people towards, fan favorites or folks that are making good TV. Keep them safe, right? If they're in big trouble. So let's look at that alliance map again, right? So that big kind of beaker-shaped one in the middle here. It'll be interesting to see, who could be in trouble here, right? Q, Genevieve, Rizzo on the outs. Camilla's getting some votes. Genevieve is catching some. 1 vote left. Genevieve goes out here, 5-4-3. What an interesting result that was. Chrissy won the spa day, and she chose to bring Mike and Camilla, her alliance. And Q won the next individual immunity, so let's see what happens with that tribal council. We'll get a couple for Chrissy, Rizzo. 7-3-1, Chrissy goes home. Just isolated, not in any particular big alliance. So who's low on the totem pole here? That kind of Joe and Rick alliance called the Friends, which is, very cute. Tomorrow's reward. So we did a pizza party last time. Let's give someone a brand new car. So Joe and Mike, those are together. Tiffany and Jonathan working together. Camilla and Tiffany. So Camilla won individual immunity. So I would bet my life that was a puzzle challenge that Camilla won. Jonathan has a immunity idol here. He plays it for himself, which was probably smart. We got 2 votes for Jonathan that did not count already. Mike, 3 votes for Jonathan that did not count. 4 votes for Jonathan. 5 votes for Jonathan that did not count. So that's Jonathan saved himself with that idol there, and Mike was taken out as the biggest threat. Let's do an overnight luxury stay, right? So that gives 20 morale, 30 hunger, minus 45 fatigue. We didn't look at the conditions, right? So again, the current conditions these players are in, right? So Q, you're quite tired, quite hungry, just being this far into the game, but very low stress. Let's take this opportunity because I am a stats guy, right? So we can go to this cast page and look at kind of overall view of the contestant. So let's sort that by stress, right? And actually let's only see who's active and stressed. So nobody really stressed. What causes stress is things like being betrayed and or losing very close allies or having really heated rivalries with people. So it looks like Devins is very fatigued, very hungry, and has the most stress in the game, right? Now's a good time as well to talk about fame and villainy. So these will really help towards jury perception at the end, but also like in a negative way, they build up reasons for you to be voted out by the rest of your tribe, right? So this will also, when we talked about pre-existing reputations in the in the game generation screen. This will carry over to future seasons if you have returnee players, right? Their fame and villainy will probably be reined in a little bit based on I haven't quite got a mechanic there yet, but when I think about it in my head, a way to for that fame to kind of expire if they haven't been on in a couple of seasons, that kind of way, right? Like people forget about them, but fame, right? Challenge wins. He orchestrated a blindside on day 4, then villainy betrayed Savannah on day 4, right? So let's see if we can sort by fame, right? Who's left in the game with a lot of fame? Q, right? A couple of individual challenges. He won some reward challenges. Then villainy, top of the villainy list is Kyle. Guessing 2 betrayals of Coach and Angelina, and then orchestrated that blindside on Angelina. So yeah, one for the stats nerds. Okay, another thing I wanted to talk about is the calendar view, and I should have showed this earlier in the game, but you can move around the dates, move challenges to different dates, right? There's also a mechanic to this calendar gets set automatically when a tribe starts, right? So there's, in this case, 24 contestants, 26 days, so it does its best to line up the immunity challenges so that we get to final 3, and that the merge happens with 13 players left, and with the tribe swap happens on even numbers, right? So if you had a 18-person season, then you'd swap when it's 15 people. So after 3, same as this, right? So it'll automatically do that, but you can move things around, except for the ones that are 1 in the past and 2 locked to specific days, right? Like final tribal and final immunity challenge. Let's move to the next day. Charlie won individual immunity, right? Everybody goes to tribal council. No one's got an idol. I gotta remember to put one back in the box. So who are we kind of worried for here? Rick, Joe, Camilla on the outs, or maybe a real, a blind side of someone like Q and Rizzo, who are in a power couple together. So let's see, right? Yeah. So Rizzo's already catching a couple of votes. Rick as well. Camilla, interesting, right? So Camilla on the outs, Rick on the outs. Everyone kind of being protected by their idols here, but it does look like Camilla's gonna get got with 6-2-1, and then other votes for Rick and Rizzo. The friends fell apart. How sad. So see, this was an alliance of Joe and Rick. It has fallen apart. We hardly knew ye, Joe and Rick. Kyle wins an individual immunity challenge here. Who's left in the game, right? Jonathan, Charlie, Kyle, Rizzo. It's a nightmare. All new era contestants: Joe, Tiffany, Q, and Rick. The only person from from the 30s left in the game. This would be an absolute disaster for old school fans, right? Well, looks like Joe is going out of here as a kind of an old school player in a new school world. So Joe gets taken out on day 21. Let's drop another idol in the mix. Maybe help our friend Rick Devins hang in there. You know what? Let's see how they're going. Right, Rick's still on the outs. It's not looking great for him. Q and Rizzo, and then that 4-person line. It's very Edge of Extinction coded, isn't it? Right, Rick on the outs. A couple of stronger alliances, but let's see if he can do anything to claw himself back in here. So Jonathan wins individual immunity. Unsurprisingly, no one has an idol. Rick gets 1 vote, 2 for Charlie. Interesting enough here. 3 for Rick, 4 for Rick. Oh boy. Oh, poor Rick. Another one of my favorites just gone too soon. Jonathan and Charlie agree to watch each other's back. Tiffany and Jonathan working together. Jonathan's in a really good spot, right? And it's not in real life known for his screen presence, but I guess a fan favorite of sorts, right? Or a particular set of fans. But he's getting fatigued here, so maybe it'll catch up to him in these immunity challenges. And Kyle wins one, so they're kind of trading it back and forth. Charlie finds an idol. I should find a way to surface that before the tribal pops up, right? So we aren't kind of surprised by it every time, but Charlie plays it for himself and it negates a vote. 2 for Rizzo, 3 for Rizzo, 4 for Rizzo, but Tiffany votes for Charlie there. Interesting. That Q, Tiffany, and Kyle alliance looking very strong here. Kyle wins immunity. The Phantom Pact fell apart. So really just this 3-person alliance with Jonathan and Charlie on the outs here. I think Jonathan's gonna need to win out here. Let's look at where we are from a production perspective, right? So, we talked about that really exciting rock draw at day 7 that somehow the camera has missed. The overall rating so far is a B, right? Low drama, good on suspense, right? What's making up suspense? We got a lot of close votes, a couple of nail biters, a couple of revotes, and that one tiebreaker rock draw. So that chart went up really high, and then overall strategy just very high here. And again, this is a cast of like all-star superstars, so you kind of expect that from a character perspective and a strategy perspective it would be really high. Some good star power here from the perspective of Jonathan and Charlie and Q. But we'll see how it plays out from here. So another immunity win for Kyle. So that's probably not looking too good for our boy Jonathan here, right? So Q gets a vote, 1 for Jonathan, 2 for Jonathan, 3 for Jonathan, 4 for Jonathan. I called it, right? So Jonathan gets voted out as a challenge threat. Jonathan's dominance in physical challenges made him too dangerous to keep around. So he had to go. Interestingly, the alliance, the official alliance, fell apart, right? So maybe some bad blood here, because Kyle really found himself on the outs, and Charlie moved to the top of the power rankings. So interesting to see how this plays out, right? We're down to the final 4. It's day 24, and look at that. Charlie wins final immunity. Very interesting. So that alliance of Kyle, Q, and Tiffany are going to have to make a tough decision here, right? Looks like Kyle's voting for Q, and Q votes for Kyle. Charlie votes for Kyle, and Tiffany votes for Kyle. So Kyle and Jonathan kind of front runners going into that final 5, and ended up both going out. So we got our final 3 going into the jury phase. I will say I have not programmed a particularly exciting final tribal or winner thing here, so prepare to be underwhelmed. But you can check out here like how the current jury are feeling, right? Typical Aussie is bitter. Devins respects the game that was played to get him out. Genevieve same, Camilla same, Rizzo same, and then a couple of like truly undecided voters, right, who will make up their mind based on these kind of fame stats as well as the relationships with the contestants. So you see here Charlie like topping out this fame thing, a lot of blind sides, got that real clutch final immunity challenge win on day 25, and then a couple of took out a couple of his real close allies in Jonathan and Kyle and Rizzo right towards the end of the game. So could be Charlie's to lose here. Day 27, yeah, and like I suggested, right, one, again, I don't have a good good animated final tribal here. I got to put that in, but Charlie wins a really close vote, right, 5-4. So, excuse me, 5-4-1. Ozzy voted for Charlie because they thought they played the best game. Rick voted for Q, right? That Rick just had a good relationship with Q. A little salty about Charlie blindsiding him. And then Tiffany got votes from Chrissy and Mike. They liked him as a person. Jonathan, Genevieve, Kyle, Joe, they all voted for Charlie, right? They thought he played the best game, even though he betrayed me from Jonathan, right? Genevieve was impressed by Charlie's game. Kyle was impressed by Charlie's game. Joe thought Charlie played the best game, right? And then 2 more votes for Tiffany from Camilla and Rizzo, who are in an alliance with her. So yeah, and then that field report of nothing happening. So overall the season was it's been rated a B, right? In the full game, we would talk about, you know, the financial implications of that, like budget for casting for the next season, you know, if you get renewals, that kind of stuff. But in isolation here, it was a pretty interesting season, right? We got very little drama, right? No, with some conflicts, but no real, you know, heated rivalry. Oops, that's a different thing. But there was none of that either. So it's got an F grade for drama, but like real good on suspense, because we got a few close votes, couple nail biters, that rock draw, and then strategy, like I said, just going to be driven by the fact that there was a lot of world-class strategists, survivor strategists on this cast, right? And characters low. Okay, so interestingly enough, it might have been a lot of the so-called bigger characters, or the old school characters, went out pre-merge, and we were left with a lot of new schoolers. So again, maybe this is just all patting me on the back for creating a very realistic simulation. Charlie won. Yeah, these are the votes he got up final tribal council. This is the overall placement we can look at. People would have been so upset with Suri going out first, Emily, Savannah, Aubrey, Coach 14th right before the merge, Ozzy just made the merge, right? And then we get all, you know, new school alliance, other than Rick and Mike just managing to hang in there at a 7th and 10th spot. So overall, 3 individual immunity wins for Kyle, very impressive. 2 for Jonathan, 2 for Charlie, 1 for Chrissy, 1 for Q. Camilla had 12 votes against her, went to 7 tribal councils. Jonathan and Rizzo went to 10 tribal councils and had 11 votes against them. So, you know, pretty impressive. Strongest alliance in the game, Q and Genevieve got to a 14-point cohesion. Chrissy and Q had a big rivalry. Charlie was the most liked, probably why he won, and Genevieve was the most distrusted of the whole season. So that's my game. Like I said, it would be super helpful to me if you wishlisted them, and the link is down below. If you like this video, I would also be very appreciative of that. Or if you wanted to subscribe to my channel and watch the rest of the development go, you know, I've got a lot of scaffolding for the overall full game simulation, so I think things are moving along pretty well. But you know, I intend to post a couple of other development videos and maybe facilitate some you know, some of your input as well. So appreciate you giving me the time. Thanks, guys.